FIH podcast, Hockey Pod, with Richard Stainthorpe and me, Sarah Juggins. As usual, we are joined by a stellar cast as we discuss all things hockey for the next 40 minutes or so. So let's begin with a quick intro to today's guests. We have Rachael Lynch, who really needs little introduction. Rachael has 233 caps for Australia and was voted the FIH Goalkeeper of the Year in 2019. She also received an Olympian for Life award at the recent Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, and we'll hear more about that later. But welcome to you, Rachael. How are you?
Thanks, Sarah. I'm really well, thank you.
Good. Next up, we have Caitlyn Sherin of Ireland, who is just starting out on her career, and already she is a history maker, leading the Irish junior team to its first ever World Cup in South Africa in December. So hi, Caitlyn.
Hi, thanks, Sarah, for having me.
Absolute pleasure. We also have McLeod, who was head coach to his home nation, New Zealand, before taking over as head coach to Belgium in 2013. In the ensuing 8 years, he took the team to the top of the world as they were crowned World Cup winners in 2018, Olympic champions at the Tokyo 2020 Games, and subsequently are now the number one ranked team in the world. So welcome to you, Shane.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. It's really it's nice to be part of the panel, and I'm looking forward to today.
Richard, hello. How are you?
Hi, Sarah. Yeah, all good. Lots to be excited about with the Pro League starting again in a few weeks' time, and obviously the Junior World Cups, as you've already mentioned. If you want, I can start talking about those things.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, so Pro League starts on the 13th of October, and we have the European champions, the Netherlands, taking on the World and Olympic champions, Belgium, in Amsterdam. Shane, McLeod, I'm sure you'll have a keen eye on that one, although it might be a strange experience watching the Red Lions in action from all the way from New Zealand.
Yeah, it will be a bit strange, but I am looking forward to it. You know, it's one of the pleasures of working with that team is you get to watch them up close, and I probably couldn't be standing further away now than Belgium and New Zealand. It's on the other side of the world. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how they get started again. I think there's a real eagerness in the group to do well, and I know Michelle is very keen to get off to a good start, and I think it's great opposition and a really nice time after the Olympics to kind of celebrate where those teams are at. So yeah, it'll be good fun.
And Michelle van der Hoevel, who obviously was your assistant coach, I mean, what things do you think he will bring to this Red Lions team?
Well, it's always been a collaboration, you know. So will you see? You'll certainly see some new things because he'll want to stamp on his personality on the group and so on. But he's been heavily involved for a long time, so you know you'll see a lot of the similar kind of tactical things playing out and so on. But you're going to see a group now that's much more mature than they were, you know, in 6 years ago when I first took the team over. So yeah, a lot of the senior players will really try and bring on some of the youngsters that are coming into the team, and you'll see probably over the next 2 or 3 years maybe just a balance change in the group, but I don't think you'll see it too early. I think you're going to see pretty close to the Olympic side operating, hopefully close to how they were operating at the Olympic Games.
Oh, it's exciting times anyway. After Pro League's going to be running for some time, obviously, but we have the Junior World Cups coming up. The men's in Bhubaneswar in India, which was recently confirmed as the host city, a place that Shane doesn't know very well due to being the place where they won the 2018 World Cup, which is always nice. The event will run from the 24th of November to the 5th of December with 16 teams taking part. Sadly, Hockey Australia and Hockey New Zealand have said that their teams cannot take part due to the COVID situation, but they are being replaced by USA and Canada, so that's fantastic news for those teams. The Women's Junior World Cup takes place in Potchefstroom, South Africa, between the 5th and the 16th of December. Again, 16 teams on the turf, with Argentina and Ireland taking the place of Australia and New Zealand. And obviously, we'll be talking about that a little bit later on. There's some plenty of very, very good hockey to look forward to. And so it should be a very, very interesting few months, Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to ask Rachael, just on the back of the chat about the Pro League and obviously the Junior World Cups. I mean, what impact is or are the restrictions in New Zealand and Australia, how are they going to be mitigated, do you think, by your respective national associations?
Yeah, well, I mean, listening to all that just made me feel a little bit sad, actually, because we're in this situation where we've got no hockey till potentially January, but maybe not till June, July next year. And I naively thought that the whole Junior World Cup was actually not happening. I didn't realise it was just Australia and New Zealand pulling out of it. So really disappointing. And I guess Hockey Australia, their hands are tied a little bit because the current situation requires such lengthy, quarantines on return from anywhere overseas. Plus, there's challenges around actually getting back into the country. So it makes it really hard. And then, you got to imagine the cost of that too. So it's going to be a really difficult time, not just in the sporting sense, but for anyone trying to navigate tournaments, events, anything like that, because it's a killer, really. It's disappointing from a COVID point of view, but it's costly for our hockey in Australia as well.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, the thing is, leading up to the Olympics, it was again a similar situation. The only teams you could really play to get, competitive matches was against New Zealand. For the first part of the Olympics, that didn't seem to have hindered you too much because you came into the Olympic Games all guns blazing. So, how did the team manage to get itself to that point? Was it the sort of the momentum of a new coach? Was it those tough games against New Zealand? What was it?
Yeah, I mean, we tried to take it as a bit of a positive. We obviously watched on and saw the European teams playing each other, and we're always more than happy to play New Zealand. We match up really well against them, and it's not like it's a low level team. We're playing against a team who always plays high level against us. We're usually game on, game off from a win-loss perspective. So it was really good preparation, but we just had to take what we could. We were playing boys here in Perth, junior boys. Nothing will ever compare to proper international matches, but we just tried to go in with the mindset of, means teams haven't really seen us, even though we were able to see some of them play. So you just got to try and grab the positives where you can.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that the one disadvantage really is you weren't playing against other styles of play, were you? You were playing, you and New Zealand both have this very sort of energetic, high octane, very attacking style of play, and you just weren't getting the experience of playing the India. Sorry to mention it, the Indias or the Argentinas or some of those other teams.
Yeah, that's correct. And I mean, we tried when we played boys. We're playing against under 18 boys. And we'd be like, right, today you're playing as Spain, but, under 18 boys are not super compliant. So we did try and set up different styles, but you just got to make do. And maybe that was what cost us in the end, but we were proud of how we performed, and certainly the 5 games, and we put ourselves in the best position we could have. So, we can't blame the preparation. Everyone had challenges in the lead up.
Yeah, sure. We'll be coming back to chat to both Shane and Rachel about the Olympics in a minute, but Caitlyn, just very briefly to you on the Pro League and sort of just the, if you like, the role that Pro League plays in providing inspiration to teams like yourselves who are sort of looking to hit the world stage. How much do you take from things like the Pro League?
Yeah, I know the Pro League's amazing. I know we're disappointed not to be able to play in it as well, but we look onto those games, and to be able to have that content and look at other teams and especially different styles, we'll be looking before we go to the Junior World Cup to look at different styles, because we've never really played outside Europe. I know a lot of us haven't anyway, so it's definitely the different styles and learning so much from especially senior teams. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for us to watch on. So yeah, we'll be taking things from different matches and different gameplays and things like that. So yeah, it's great. It's super hockey.
And it's a journey. I mean, it's a journey your senior women's team have taken in huge strides over the last few years, isn't it? Both at the World Cup and then again at the Olympic Games. So it's, these are all learning experiences, which is great. If we could just now cast our minds back to Tokyo 2020. Rich, I know you've got a few questions for Shane. So if you want to dive in there and fill your boots.
Yes, I've got plenty of questions for Shane. But
remember, we're on a time limit.
Yeah, of course. But I think that my first question to Shane has to be, how is life back in New Zealand? I mean, it must be lovely to be home, although you've been had a long period of quarantine, I understand.
Yeah, so Yeah, just a bit what Rachel was saying. It's difficult circumstances to come back, and it feels as if I've gone back in time a little bit, because in Europe we kind of feel as if we're coming out the other end of it, and it's a bit deja vu. So the 14 days quarantine is, and I have 3 young children as well. So doing that with my wife and 3 young children, you thought winning a gold at the Olympics was difficult or challenging. This was something else. But so we've been out for 3 days now. So it's nice. I had a game of golf today, and it's a bit more relaxed. So it's a different world I'm beginning at the moment.
I can imagine. I just wondered whether that kind of period of quarantine, I mean, it sounds like you've had your hands full anyway, but I was wondering whether it would allow you to reflect on everything you achieved with the Belgian national team, or had you already spent time doing that whilst you were still in Europe?
Oh, it happened quite a bit in Europe. Like it was a fantastic moment. Like there was a few things that I treasured a great deal. Like as a coach, you often talk to your athletes about the commitment and all of the sacrifices that go into a high performance athlete and so on. And sometimes you do wonder, are you telling or asking the right story of the athlete? And after winning it, it's very comforting to know that it's worth it. The response that we had back in Belgium was worth it. How the players have shared an experience that's just a life moment that they will treasure forever, and they've really written the history books, this particular side, and also it's a big thing to shape a culture. In many ways, the Belgian men's hockey team has been shaping the sporting culture of Belgium. So it goes beyond just one game of hockey. It's nice to be part of that particular chapter, and I'm lucky enough to recognise that. I've been very lucky to meet such a talented group at the right sort of moment.
I mean, we're talking about that talented group. I mean, you've got some unbelievable players in the shape of Arthur Van Doren, Vincent Van Ash, who you described as a goalkeeper from another planet in the post gold medal press conference, because I was there and I heard you say it. There's obviously Victor Venier, John Doman, Alexander Hendricks. The list goes on. But however, it's more than just talented individuals, isn't it? I mean, what are the attributes within this group that makes them so much more than the sum of their parts?
Well, it's just that, like we have a bit of a mantra that we don't want to have a team of stars, that we want to have a star team. And you have to work at that. And the athletes in particular have to buy into that ethos and that there's 2 things that are important to the group that I see. One is that they want to take the shirt to a better place. They have a lot of pride in playing for their country, but by the end of their career, they actually want it to be of more value when they started. And that's quite a big thing and quite a mature thing for a player to recognise and pick up and carry. And the second is they invest in each other a great deal. You would think after doing the Tokyo experience and things like that, they would all go off with their own separate friends and things like that. But if you check out their Instagram and so on, there's little clusters of the team go on holidays together and spread out, but they're always connected. And it's something that has really grown in the group. And we've tried to cultivate that, but it does make a difference in those big games.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've got 2 more questions because I realise that we are on a time limit. And my first would be the reflections on that gold medal game against Australia. I mean, that was as good as international hockey matches as anyone will ever see. The standard was just so incredible, and obviously there was so much drama at the end in the shootout. And as everyone saw, the emotions kind of got the better of you. Can you talk us through that final and what the whole thing meant to you?
Yeah, well, it was a few things colliding, like I think before the game we'd spoken to the players about the joy that they bring to us as a staff and how they play, and it was kind of, that was the message. We just wanted to watch them play, and they really delivered on that. And I enjoyed the final immensely, and I enjoyed it because Australia played really well as well. You know, like it certainly wasn't a one-sided affair. And I'm a bit of a hockey purist. I love the game, and it was really delivered in a brilliant way. So there was that, and you know, that's in a way was my final piece of work with the group. You know, my final time of watching from my box on the side of the ground. So and so that dawned on me as well. You know, like you invest a lot, and they invest a lot in me as well. So it was just, yeah, two things are colliding: the importance of the game, the understanding of what it's going to mean for these players for the rest of their life, and also that it was my last opportunity to be standing where I stood. So yeah, it was really emotional. It was.
And my final question is, what's next for Shane McLeod? Obviously, you're back in New Zealand. You've ended your time as an international coach, or certainly this chapter of it. Is it just a chance for you to now kind of take stock of everything and maybe think about what you want to do next, or do you have a plan?
Part of the plan is not having a plan. You know, I do want to take this year to have a look at what the next step is, and I certainly haven't turned my back on international hockey and all the Belgian team or anything like that. But to do this time justice being away and really get a good understanding of what's going to challenge me next, as well as what do I want to take on, is really important. And people don't often have the chance to do that. You usually go from one event to the next event and so on. So yeah, I'm extremely lucky to be in a position where I can take a breather and see where to go. So yeah, I'm not in a hurry, but I'm certainly not retiring either.
Fantastic.
Getting that golf handicap sorted out instead.
Yeah,
I'd like to come to Rachel, but first I'd just quickly like to pop across to Caitlyn on a couple of things that Shane said there. He spoke about the team shaping the culture and also the joy that they bring. And I just wondered if you could talk as someone who's very much on the receiving end of that, because of the things that your own senior women's team has been doing for the last 3 years. Is there a growing sense in Ireland of joy around hockey?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, we will be looking at what the women did at the World Cup in 2018 and taking inspiration from that. And I think we met them before they left, and we kind of all said, like, girls, you could do something really special here this summer. And that's exactly what they did. And it was just belief, and they just enjoyed it so much. And you could tell that they were all just best friends, and they all backed each other, and everyone was there for a reason. So we were actually just talking the other day about how we need to kind of knuckle down now for the next 2 weeks and get the culture going in the squad, and just now that we're in, that we knuckle down and get the culture going. And now we go into a tournament and expect to do our best and just bring joy and happiness back, because obviously it's been a crazy kind of year or two, but yeah, that's it. It's just bringing belief back to the country. And yeah, it's definitely excitement, and what the girls did in 2018, and obviously getting to the Olympics in Tokyo was just an amazing achievement, and it's brought belief that we can inspire to now. So yeah, they've done amazing things for us, so hopefully we can bring that on now.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be writing your own story, but there are certainly things that you can take from, their preparations and their approach. Rachel, just heading on back to the Olympics with you now. As I said before, it was a sort of, well, let's face it, getting there was a rough journey for you, wasn't it? And you had a very, very tough 2 years. I wonder if you could sum up what those 2 years were like, both from a professional hockey point of view, but also from a professional healthcare point of view, because it was coming at you from all angles, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we weren't unique. Everyone was facing that battle together when COVID first hit. Came to Australia a little bit later, so we got to watch it from a distance initially and try and prepare as best we could. I still remember the day that we got told as a program that we were stopping, and the fact that we're all in Perth together, we live over here 12 months of the year. We had 24 hours where we were told, you've got to make a decision now whether you go home or you stay here in Perth. And it was really hard for a lot of people, because most have their family over east, and knowing that making that decision. You didn't know when you would be back. We had no idea what was going to happen, and it was probably half of our team went home, but it was a pretty easy one for me. I just knew, even though my family's over in Melbourne, I just wanted to jump in and contribute as much as I could, get into the hospital a little bit more. So yeah, it's been a crazy ride since then. From the COVID perspective, I've been pretty fortunate. I ended up changing jobs from the ward hospital because COVID really didn't get to us like we thought it would. We shut down wards and freed up the ICU and all of these things, and it just didn't really arrive, thankfully. And funnily enough, I couldn't get a job. I was trying to get extra work and I couldn't get shifts. So the irony of that, but moved across to a mining company, and I've been with them ever since. And it was just like, I guess for everyone, maybe the younger girls didn't look at it like I did, but during that time, it was just like, this is your taste of what retirement would be like. Yeah. And it certainly gave me an opportunity to experience it, because I was working full time. It was a bit, I was working 7 days a week, but that was COVID at the time. Training became, doing it in your own way within the confines of COVID restrictions initially, but then we were just, on our own. And then, we kicked off training again. So then there was that kind of balance between work and hockey. And then when I was removed from the team, I went through it all again of like, okay, well, this is retirement life. I was going to work, but still committed to, every single day maintaining that training load, even though I was doing it by myself, because I just knew that I felt like I was the one to, be at the Olympics and help the girls to have success. And that was what was driving me each day to get up at 5 o'clock when I didn't really want to, go for a ride by myself, down to the park, do footwork drills. Like, it was very difficult being a goalie. You put your gear on and it's like, I need someone to help. It's a challenging position to train by yourself. So it was a crazy ride, but it taught me a lot. It showed me, what retirement life would be like. It showed me, I guess, maybe how determined I am, that I can, still commit to something even though I wasn't in the team. And I guess I'm, when I look back, I'm really proud of that, because when I got back into the team, I was in the best shape I've been in. And that was a bit of a nice surprise for our new coach. And happy with how I played at the Olympics. Would have been the dream, or fairy tale for us had we gotten a medal there, but it wasn't to be. And I think the beauty of that is it's going to mean that our program and all of us still have to continue to reflect, continue to learn. How can we be better? What do we need to change? Whereas sometimes I think the medal can maybe allow people to forget that stuff. Yeah. I had a slightly different perspective to the girls, but I was just so proud of the team that arrived in Tokyo, where we're at as a program, and the way we played over there. A little bit, I think I'd be the same as you, Caitlyn. You can see when a team is happy. You can see when they, care about each other. I see that with the Irish girls and have a lot of respect for them. You can see it with the Belgian guys as well. It's obvious. It's not, you don't look at them and go, wow, just incredible hockey players. You can see that they actually care about each other. And I think that's such a great place to start. Leave the coaching and the game plan and all of that to the staff. But as long as the players actually, genuinely care for each other and are out there with the intention of just having fun and enjoying it, then, you can do some pretty amazing things.
Yeah, no, I think, you've hit several nails on the head there. One of the things that obviously the Belgian side has demonstrated is it's not an overnight fix, is it? And although we started to see the Australian side fixing the things that had been broken in the past, it is going to take time, but at least it's starting to happen. Quite important in that process is, I guess, the ability to speak about it. And you did, very recently, you eloquently and emotionally spoke about the mental trauma that you had been facing. I just wondered if you could just first of all explain what motivated you to speak out on a public stage about it, because to that point you had kept things very much close to your chest, hadn't you?
Yeah, it was a difficult time from that perspective. I couldn't say anything, and again, the focus was the Olympics. We're all the same in the lead up to an Olympics. You are 100% committed to that. I had lots of other things going on, but once I was back in the team, it was the same thing. We're on track. It's about the team, what we're trying to achieve. And there has been opportunities since because I want to tell my story. I want to share what actually happened, and mostly because during that time, some pretty incredible things happened. I saw some characteristics from my teammates I've never seen before. Some real courage, some leadership. In myself, I got to a point, as I shared, that was pretty low, and I had friends and teammates who really stepped up and provided a level of mental health care and support that, again, I hadn't seen. Not that I didn't have faith that would happen. It was more just amazing to get a text message every single day from particular teammates, just being like, "Are you okay? Here for you. You're important. You're valued. We want you back." Those sorts of things, and that language. I think I'd like to think I've played a bit of a role in that over the years as my ambassador role with Are You OK, and doing a lot of mental health work with the girls, because we know, like, your teammates are kind of like your colleagues. You spend so much time with them. They're the ones you're going to share your struggles with. They're the ones that are going to notice when something's not going all right for you, and that's exactly what happened. And I was just, so proud of them. But it gave me an opportunity after all these years of working in mental health to be like, well, actually, now I've been on the other side of it, where I was on the receiving end of some wonderful support, where I had to reach out to, I was seeing a psychologist regularly, all of those things that I'd not experienced before. But I'm happy to share them because I want to practice what I preach.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, it's going to inform your work even better with the Are You OK charity, because you can now speak from a place of even better understanding. And I'm guessing as well, it changed the atmosphere in the changing room as well, because suddenly you'd got to a deeper level of understanding with all your teammates as well.
Yeah, and it was another driver. I have some wonderful friends in the team, but there's a couple of girls where during that time, some of the things that they did and said and the way they supported me and did things within our program, I was just like, I can't wait to be standing behind you on the pitch, some of the girls that sometimes you're just like, you're working hard enough, all that sort of stuff. I was like, nah, I know deep down now that they're really in this for the right reasons and want to work hard for our team. And being in the position of goalkeeper, like, the relationships are so important. And I feel it really, it just strengthens so many of those. And, you end up with lifelong friends from hockey anyway, but having been through what we did, even holistically as a program, what we've been through the last couple of years, it taught us all so much, but it's, really strengthened those relationships, which is super important.
Did you feel that the Olympics this year, more than any other, shone a light on the mental health issues that can afflict elite athletes? Because, I mean, we had obviously Simone Biles speaking out, and through her actions or lack of actions as well, just showing what a challenge it was. Did you feel that this game's more than any other, there started to be an understanding?
Yeah, it just seems to be happening that way in society. I think we're talking about it more. The hard bit was that. Sorry, let me just shut the door.
No worries.
I've been asked about
childcare at its best. Just shut the door.
Yeah. Yummy. It's dinner time, I think. The hard bit was that seeing, Simone and Naomi Osaka and all of those athletes that are standing up and, I guess, having a voice in this space. You're just like, so proud of them, and there's such amazing support. But you do see the other side where they're still getting criticised, and the public side of that just, like, drives me crazy. It's just, you sort of read things and you're like, what's wrong with you? Like, how can you say those things? These people are going out on a limb to try and create awareness, but also just speak their own truth. And, I admire them so much for doing that. But I think you're right. The Olympics did a really good thing in that space, but COVID's done that as well. Everyone, this has just shown that everyone around the world has a story, and everyone's got something going on for them. Like, you can't avoid it now. And I think it's shed more of a light on, we have to be looking after each other. We've got to be checking in. For us over here in Perth, I feel like a huge responsibility, because I've got friends and family over in Melbourne in, lockdown, that trying to homeschool, a bit like you were saying, Shane, in the quarantine with 3 kids. Like, I can't even begin to imagine what an ongoing lockdown would be like with young children. Like, it's almost horrific. So that mental health side of caring for each other and doing what we can is, so much more prevalent now.
Yeah, I mean, Shane, from your point of view as a coach, the mental welfare of the athletes as much as the physical welfare, how big is that in your considerations?
Yeah, like I think coaching is changing because I think that the new generations are changing as well. You know, like I think the old school stand and dictate is a dying, if not dead, dinosaur. You know, I think that what I think with the high performance sport is that done well, it gives people an opportunity to really have an impact in a really positive way. And that's what a lot of the younger generations are looking for. You know, they want to have purpose, they want to be involved, they want to have an impact. And if your coaching style or your staff's coaching style doesn't allow that to happen, then you're always going to struggle. You know, like it's not a normal world high performance sport. You know, and you have to work very hard as coaches and as athletes to give as much balance as you possibly can to it. You know, for athletes' well-being, but just also to give them the opportunity to reach their full potential. You know, like there's very few athletes that go to the Olympic Games that aren't driven from within. So you don't necessarily have to provide that drive. You have to provide that mechanism for them to reach what they want to achieve. You know, and work with them for it. So yeah, I think things are changing, and I think maybe the Olympics and certainly some events at the Olympics has shone a light on those type of things.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we were talking to Thomas Briels in the last podcast, and he was saying that it wasn't just about the hockey; it was about the players as whole beings, and just trying to be better versions of yourselves. And I think that's something we hear time and again, and it's something that coaches can facilitate, isn't it?
Yeah, and also high performance can be quite cruel. You know, like Thomas Briels is a fantastic ambassador of our game, and you couldn't ask for a nicer guy. But also, what our game does a bit is there's a little bit of injustice. You know, the Olympics goes from 18 to 16, and you have to make selection choices, and often it's not because the player's not good enough. It's just because you're forced in a position where you have to select the balance of what you think is going to be best, you know, and then it's very difficult for that really tests you, you know, and that's one of the things I certainly won't miss about coaching is having those conversations with people that don't deserve to have that conversation because of the effort they're putting in. So yeah, it's not easy, but I do believe that high performance sport, all of the things that it does bring you, it's a little bit what I said before, you know, winning a gold medal and having that belief that it is all worth it. You know, that was a very comforting thing for me to feel after the event, because you do you play around with people's dreams sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, you must lie awake at night sometimes wondering if you've made the right decision, and so your own mental health is probably, under quite a lot of stress as well. That probably goes without saying.
Oh, yeah, well like whatever you feel as a coach, it's never going to be the same impact as what you have to tell the athlete. So you can never hide behind that as being you can never lose perspective of that. You know, that conversation is incredibly difficult, but it's harder to hear than it is to deliver. So what you have to do is you just have to make sure you do that process the best you can, because it's always going to fall short, but you have to do your best, you know. And if I can give another kudos to Thomas, he took some really tough news, and then 2 weeks later he's in the team and he plays 7 out of the 8 games at the Olympic Games and walks away with a gold medal. And that's kind of how robust our culture is, or what we've tried to do. And that's why I think we're a world-class team, not necessarily that we win all the games, but that we go through those processes together. And him and I are fine. We're good, you know. Although we've had that conversation, we both heard about having it. You know?
Sure. I mean, one of your coaching colleagues, Alison Annan, said, when you get to know your players better, those difficult conversations do become easier to have. They don't become less difficult conversations, but you can have them better.
Yeah, well, they just know that your heart's in the right place. You're doing it for the right reason, you know, that's really important. And I think one of the things I witnessed earlier when I was coaching a selection thing, and I wasn't leading the program, but I knew the background discussion that we had as a coaching staff, and it was all positive towards this player. And then I also sat in on the selection meeting, and it was very damning. They were kind of justifying, or not making up reasons, but they're justifying why they didn't select this person. And often that's not the case. It's just the injustice of some of the things that happen in high performance sport. You don't have to make up excuses that they're not good at this or not good at that. And that taught me a big lesson,
Yeah.
and I hope I've carried that through into my coaching at a later age. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your thoughts on that. Rachel, I just got one more question for you regarding the Olympics. You pledged to give $100 per goal that your team scored during the Olympics. As your wallet is now $1,300 lighter, are you quite pleased you didn't score any more goals?
I'm pleased that the pledge wasn't on how many saves I made, because I didn't have that much work to do, so it wouldn't have been a particularly big total. But we had one game that was that blew the budget, which was awesome, and I just feel so proud to stand at the other end of the pitch and watch the girls score goals, and especially our strikers. It's really nice to watch. So it was just a little bit of an extra incentive. As you know, I'm pretty passionate about mental health, so it was just a small thing I could do to raise a little bit more awareness and some funds for a charity that's very important.
Yeah, Lifeline, that's correct, isn't it? The Lifeline Suicide Prevention Charity. Yeah, well, I mean, that's great, and it just sort of underlines the fact that you got the Olympians Award, because I mean that's a tremendous award to have received. I know it was aside from the playing, but just sum up for me, what did it mean to win that award?
Oh, I mean, I'm always I'm very proud of what I do in the hockey world, but the thing that's most important to me is my nursing and how I can contribute to people outside of hockey. And they're not mutually exclusive. They both have been my life for many years, and to receive that sort of recognition on a world stage, especially given what I've been through in the last 12 months, it was really, really special. And even just the way the girls, they wrote this incredible poem for me, and they're the moments that made all the hard times worth it. I mean, I felt so privileged to be amongst the group that won the award as well. And they say you're an Olympian for life anyway, but this was very special.
Yeah, brilliant. We're going to head over and talk to Caitlyn now about the Junior World Cup. But if you were to give Caitlyn one word of advice from your sort of your long but still continuing international career, what would it be as she starts out on hers?
I mean, you're in a pretty good place with the role models you have in the girls moving forward. Aisha McFerrin's a friend of mine and someone that I caught up with at the Olympics. Don't take any drinking advice from her. That'd be one thing. But just a group of absolute legends. And you're right, you guys are going to be able to write your own story. And it's wonderful to have Ireland on the map. But I love the fact that you guys are a team that can have that success through your grit and through your teamwork. Back in Australia, I played for Melbourne or Victoria, and that's something that we've always had. We've not had the superstars like our Queensland do, and you guys are a bit like that. You've obviously got some incredible players, and I'm sure in your junior team it's the same, but it's that connection together, that love for your hockey. And so really in your leadership role, I'd just say harness that, spend time off the pitch, getting to know the girls, finding out what's important to them, acknowledging the cool stuff that they're doing, and that just builds this incredible incredible group, so that when you walk away, if nothing else, you're just going to have some awesome mates.
Brilliant.
Thanks so much. Noted.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Caitlyn, so tell us about the Junior World Cup. I mean, where were you when you heard the news that you were going to be competing in that competition?
I was working from home, so it was a Thursday morning. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. and I got a call saying it was something else that I had to do, add to the to-do list. And then at the end of the call, it said, oh, by the way, we got a phone call last night saying that we're going to the Junior World Cup. So yeah, it definitely made it a lot easier to work that day. And yeah, just really exciting. It was just like incredible news to get. We were really disappointed to miss out 2 years ago to qualify at the Europeans in Valencia. So it was kind of at the back of our minds for the last 2 years. And we kind of trained we trained during summer, like a really great program, and we trained for it without kind of realizing. So we had great matches against GB and Wales seniors women, and we played a Six Nations tournament in Spain. So we prepared without meaning to, but it was always at the back of our minds and something we knew it might happen and come in kind of last minute. But I think stranger things have happened this year. So yeah, we're absolutely delighted to earn our spot.
And it'll be a fantastic, just a fantastic opportunity for you and your team to go there. Have you been to South Africa before?
No, I haven't. Yeah, it's the first time we'll be sending an Irish junior team to a Junior World Cup. So yeah, certainly looking forward to getting down, and I'm going to make it a big one for the first time I leave the country during the pandemic and go all the way to South Africa. So yeah, absolutely can't wait to get down and just, yeah, knuckling down to training now.
And the mood amongst the team must be, yeah, everyone must be buzzing, I guess.
Yeah, it was amazing news again. It was kind of at the back of our minds for the last 2 years and the last summer. But yeah, it was just, yeah, it was super to get, and we're really good friends, and obviously it's a small place, Ireland, so we see each other quite often, which is great. It's not too far to travel. Well, I know I'm in Dublin, so it's easy for me to say, but yeah, it was amazing news to get, and we had a Zoom call straight away, and we put a plan together with our amazing management group and Dave, our coach, as well. So yeah, it was just like great to get the news of confirmation and just get going now. It was an amazing feeling.
And tell us a little bit about your journey, your personal journey into the sport. How did you start, and obviously what's the ambition?
Yeah, so I kind of fell across hockey when I was in school, in primary school in sixth class, and I was into every other sport possible except for hockey. So I was slightly dragged into it, thankfully. So yeah, I played a lot of other sports, but then hockey quickly became the one that I loved the most, and everything else kind of took the side road. But yeah, I played school and club hockey is really big here. So I played school and club throughout secondary school and primary school, and then I played kind of came onto the under 16s in 2015. So I think I played like a interprovincial tournament for Leinster, and then I didn't know that Irish trials came after that. And when I got the email to come to an Irish training, I just didn't even know that was a thing. So I just went and played, and yeah, from then I've been really lucky to make kind of underage teams and play at European tournaments and Six Nations and Europeans at under 18s and under 21s. But yeah, this time last year, I definitely wasn't thinking of a World Cup because I had a back operation. So yeah, I think it was the 15th of October. So yeah, a bit of a turnaround and from last year. So I'm really lucky and grateful and thankful to be able to have turned that around, because I was in a lot of pain. I don't think I could tie my own shoelaces this time last year. So I was only able to do that with amazing support from family and friends and coaches and teammates and things like that. So it made it a lot easier with people around me.
Yeah, it must have been quite a journey for you to come back from such an injury. Was it an injury sustained due to hockey, or?
I at that under 21 Europeans in Valencia 2 years ago, I had a sore hamstring the whole time, but never really lost strength in it. So it was a bit of a weird one, and then kind of figured out that it was connected to my back, and I was just doing weights one time in the gym and it just popped straight away. So I knew, but it wouldn't have taken a lot, I don't think. And it kind of just gradually got worse and worse. So had to bite the bullet. But yeah, it's nice to be back at playing hockey and on an international level and club level and stuff. So the ambitions are to just manage that for now and then get through the World Cup and yeah, just try and get into the senior team as well in the next couple of years. I know we've had like an amazing development program over the last few years, so that's really helped us and helped me as well. So I definitely wouldn't be able to go any further without that brilliant program and support of college and work and school and family and things like that. So yeah, that's the ambition.
Well, we've already touched on the fact that the women's senior team have achieved so much in the last few years, and that must be quite inspirational to you. So when you enter a competition like the Junior World Cup, do you believe that anything is possible, I guess?
Yeah, I think us Irish we have great standards of ourselves, and we expect, and it certainly with the girls in 2018, we had they put that level to us of what we can expect for international hockey and the standard we should be playing to, and the aims that we can set and the targets we can set, and that's the level we can get to. You know, a silver medal was absolutely incredible, but it was never really a surprise. It was an amazing achievement, but we always knew they could do it. So yeah, it's kind of like we believe in ourselves, and it's definitely coming to the forefront, and we're working on it. And yeah, hopefully it's not really becoming a surprise anymore when the Irish girls do well. But yeah, it's because of their hard work and because they're friends and best friends, and you know, that's definitely all contributes, not just the hockey, it's off the pitch as well, which certainly helps.
Well, I'm sure you'll have a fantastic time in Potchefstroom. Maybe you've got the opportunity here to actually ask Shane McLeod some questions if you'd like to, or Rachel. What
kind of took the back part of trying to get to the Olympics, and if you had any advice and kind of nuggets of thing. I know, Rachel, you gave me great advice there, but even from Shane, of a coaching perspective, what would you kind of expect from someone trying to get onto a senior or an Olympics team? Well, maybe not Olympics now, but just even to get a first cap or kind of things like that.
Yeah, look, I think you got to have confidence to present yourself. You know, like I think that one of the things that I think is or what I look for in a player often is a player that comes up and presents themselves to me and starts conversations. You know, I do like that, and it for me always gives a good indication that the person has a confidence about them, and also they have some direction. You know, like I think that often players wait for coaches to tell them what to do, and it's really refreshing when a player has a plan or has an idea and comes to me. I must admit I enjoy that a great deal, and it's always a good sign. It's a good sign of a very positive athlete that is quite driven internally. So you know, don't take a step backwards. It's always better to take a step forward and form that bond.
And of course, Shane, you led the Belgium under-21 women's team to the 2013 Junior World Cup, I think.
Yeah. we that's a while back. I did take that, and that was a different time. It was very much a collection of girls that loved their game, loved hockey, and so on. But we had to take on the assignment without any of the Red Panthers, so it was kind of the next players coming through. So it was I loved the experience. It was a group of really fun girls that enjoyed the tournament, and a few of them went on and become Panthers. So you know, that was kind of what we were hoping to achieve with that group. But you know, like I believe that, and it's a bit with that high performance thing. If you imagine the high performance as a tree type, and the top of the tree is playing at the Olympics and so on, it branches off in different directions. And you know, some of those girls that we had playing in that have branched off and they've gone in a different direction in hockey and so on. And they've used all the skills that they've learnt along the way, you know, and they're doing really well in business, and because of that confidence that you have being in a team. So, yeah, it comes back a little bit to what I was talking with just before. players that have that drive and that willingness and braveness to go ask their coaches and talk to their coaches about their plans. It goes a long way.
It's an exciting age group to be involved in as well, isn't it? Because it's you've got so much influence that you can have, but as you say, they're also asking questions, and there's an openness of mind, I think, and a lack of fear sometimes as well amongst the younger players.
Yeah, well, the U21 tournament's fantastic because it's the start of tomorrow, and I really enjoy watching those players that pop up at those tournaments because they're exciting, and a few years later you see them in the big stage, and that that path that they go, that they go through. It's really inspirational watching those tournaments.
Fantastic. Last little bit before we wrap up, Caitlyn, back in Valencia in 2019, I think this is symptomatic of just how resilient and how determined the Irish team are, because I heard from well-known Irish journalist Stephen Findlater, you were due to play a seemingly meaningless game, and it involved a very, very early start in the morning. And from what I understand, Coach Dave Passmore, who is a fantastic coach, still wanted you to go out there and approach it exactly as you would any other game. So I think the whole team got a wake-up call at 5 a.m. in the morning, and then you were in the pool warming up and everything. That has to be testimony to sort of, that the approach that the team takes, because had it not been for you winning that match, I think it was against France, you wouldn't necessarily be in the situation you are today facing the challenge of a Junior World Cup.
Yeah, I think you might find a video somewhere floating around of us jumping in a pool and racing. I think we were doing races at 5:30 in the morning. I'd say our neighbours were not the happiest people, but yeah, that, I think we lost the game to Russia and Spain, and we kind of thought, that's it, we'll just see the rest of the tournament out. But we kind of never lost focus, and we said, like Dave said to us, girls, this could be our World Cup qualifier. I know we haven't exactly secured a spot yet, but it could go down to this last game. So yeah, we're not the happiest trying to have to get up at 4:30 in the morning, but it definitely 100% made a difference. And that wake up call was interesting, but it's probably what got us woken up nicely in the morning, and it was a reason to get up, and it added value to the end of the tournament. And that's obviously why we're in this situation now today. So thanks today for that wake up call. But yeah, enjoy that video if you find it.
And in terms of preparation, I mean, there's every chance you'll have an early start for the Junior World Cup as well. So you've already ticked that box. You know how to do that. Can I just ask, you didn't injure your hamstring in the pool on a pink flamingo, did you?
Actually, maybe that makes sense now. Yeah, it's probably. But don't tell Dave that; he'll not be too happy.
I'm very, very happy with the interviews today. I think it's been a great podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to the guys. Did you just want to give us the details on where people can see, watch, listen to anything hockey related?
Yeah, absolutely. So keep up to date with all the latest news from the world of hockey via the FIH website, which is fih.ch, or on social media, Facebook, which is FI Hockey, Instagram, FI Hockey, and Twitter, which is at FIH_hockey. Don't forget to download the watch.hockey app, where you can find the latest news and interviews, as well as action replays and highlights, and a lot of the Pro League action, which is coming up as well. So that's your places to go.
Brilliant. Well, thanks ever so much indeed to today's guest. Rachel has actually had to leave because she's got childcare duties. So a big thanks to Rachel as she's left the building. And a huge thanks to Shane, and good luck with whatever life brings to you next. And Caitlyn, I think, good luck at that Junior World Cup in South Africa, and then wherever your career takes you. And as always, thanks very much indeed to co-host Rich Stainthorpe.
Thank you very much.